Yeah, it's episode 6 with Jockey, Transalpino.
So we're delighted to have Jockey on. In fact, do you want to do the... How do we know? No, we do that at the end, don't we?
Do that at the end, yeah.
You start.
It's still recording, so this will be in it.
Oh, nice one then. So I look like a knob, cheers. Yeah. This is actually a podcast. I've actually wrote down a few notes because knowing you, mate, I've got a feeling this is going to go everywhere. The conversation, some of the stories I've heard off you just over a pint. So thanks very much for sharing a few of them with us. Where to start? That's good as a question, any.
I'd say where we start. I've read all about you being a Marine and this, that and the other. I'm just looking at, is that a pink iPhone you've got?
We discussed this on our last podcast. I had I've got a normal, I've got the brand new iPhone, dropped that, and then I had an old school Nokia graftophone, and I couldn't get by on that.
I'd listened to it last week.
So I just had to buy an old iPhone 6, which happens to be pink.
Yeah.
While my phone's getting an insurance job done on it.
Okay.
It's a nice one for pointing that out, cheers, mate. So back to you before I make myself look more stupid.
Yeah, pleasure to be invited on here. I listened to one the other week with Paul. Brilliant. Anyone listens to this now, you can go back to catch up and you can listen to that one as well, because that was that's eloquent, weren't he? It's like well spoken.
He speaks really well, yeah. And to be fair, that's been one of the people have said it's really interesting. But also, though, once I put on a post the other day saying about yourself coming on, the amount of lads who've said, I'm looking forward to this one. It's through knowing you. So I think hopefully this will be have similar success. I've been trying to tell Tom just snippets about you. I never know where to start because
I've no idea. I mean, like I said to you before we started recording, you know, Transalpino, I've never heard of them, never come across them. Whether that's because I don't live in Liverpool or not, I don't know. But so how did that start then? That
it goes back to it goes back a long way, obviously. But the shop itself is 2005, 2006. We opened on Hanover Street, and then we closed about 2010 with the economic downturn of, you know, I was buying stuff from Argentina, Asia, the States, everywhere, Europe, and the pound crashed around 2010 against the likes of the dollar and the euro, and a few other. We were right next to Liverpool 1. When Liverpool 1 opened, I thought, this will be great. Everyone just marched past us into Liverpool 1. So it closed because of that. But yeah, the story goes further, way back to like when I was a kid, and we used to go abroad with Liverpool, and even abroad when there wasn't a game. And we used to travel on Transalpino, which was basically it was a student travel agency ticket. A national one. You could get it in London and Birmingham and Glasgow and that, and that was basically for students to go abroad on. But you could go to you could book a ticket from Liverpool to Ostend for £13, but then you can manipulate the ticket. You could a bit of brake fluid or an ink rubber, and you could, depends on what the agent has used in the office, and you could put in Berlin or, you know, Vienna or something, but it had a couple of V's on it as well, so you could go to, like, if you know your geography, you could go to Austria via Hamburg, and which is, you know.
And we're genuinely doing this.
Of course, yeah. So of course, yeah. It's well documented. So that's why it's called Transalpino, because all the kids who were going abroad and bringing back all the clobber and all the trainees and all that, they'd done it on Transalpino. So years later, the people who now collect, people who weren't even around back then, the lads who collect trainees and clobber and vintage stuff like that, they acknowledge that all that gear first come back to these shows with kids travelling on Transalpino, so hence the name.
That story I speak about on Paul's podcast, and I talk about getting a Safeway ticket, and that just makes my story seem so lame. Going on a bus ride in the pool, blagging a ticket on that, and then you're talking about blagging your way across Europe.
Yeah.
So you're on different levels to me there already.
It didn't. It wasn't always that simple. Like it would come on top now and again. And Interrails, there's another one called Interrail. We went abroad in '84 pre-season on an Interrail, but someone had picked them up in Innsbruck. Innsbruck's in Austria, isn't it? They picked them up in Innsbruck, so they were actually Austrian Interrails. So someone sold them to us for £50, and we started travelling all around Europe. But we were supposed to be Austrian students, and one night we were asleep in a train station in Aachen, which is on the border of Germany and Holland or Belgium, and the coppers woke us up and started talking to us in German. We didn't have a fuck what they were going on about, and so they started speaking to us in English. Said, how come you can't speak German if you're Austrian? So we got nicked for 2 days on that one. Got kicked out. Well, they kept us 2 days and then just sent us on our way without any money on us.
Because you are so well travelled. You, again, speaking to you over the time we've known each other, that some of the countries you just ring off in cities, I'm like, fuck me, this fella's been everywhere. When did that start?
My old fella was a seaman, and he was a docker as well, but previously, I mean, he fought in the war, never think my old fella, he fought in the Second World War. My old fella was about 50 when he had me. So he actually fought the whole of the Second World War, and then after that, he when he come home, he must have went to sea in the March. So he used to tell me stories of like Singapore, San Francisco, Buenos Aires, Montevideo, Cape Town, everywhere. Fremantle in Australia. He used to tell me all these stories. I'd sit there open-mouthed on his knee, and I always remember him saying to me, "You'll never get a chance to see these places." So that was like a little, a bit of a challenge for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always interested in his stories. You know, like anything, you find what your dad's got to say and take a note, don't you?
Yeah. But I feel as well. So the stories my dad's told me. He'd tell me stories of people, maybe not necessarily stories that he'd done, but what it was like for him. And I feel you are the stories he used to tell. So he'd tell me stories about, for example, Scouse would always have the best clothes, and it was because Liverpool were dominating Europe in the 70s and 80s. People would go away, come back with all these new clothes, and people would be thinking, where are you getting these from? And it was because Liverpool were doing so well, people like yourself. So I feel my dad was telling me stories about Liverpool about you, almost. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, our kid as well. Our kid was like 6 years older than me. I'd listen to his stories. He didn't travel, like, me and him with chalk and cheese. But when I was we lived on Everton Valley, the Kirkdale side of Everton Valley. So as like a 4 or 5 year old, I'd see all the firms. Even though I hadn't been in a match, I'd see like Chelsea coming, Man United, Red Army, Forest, Leeds. And our kids was a skinhead. This is like, I'm talking like 69, 70 now. And our kids was a skinhead, and he used to come in every night after the match or, tea time after the day game, and he'd be singing all these skinhead songs to me. I'd be sitting there open mouthed. So even though the grounds was only like a 5-minute walk away, it was still for the 5-year-old listening to it. So even that, like, I got curious about all the stories he was telling me, all the songs he was singing to me. So I went to my first game when I was 7. He ended up going to my first game when I was 7 on my own.
On your own?
Yeah, with my mate. Yeah, so still on my own. We didn't have a responsible adult with us. My mate,
7-year-old,
a kid called Brian Mercer. He's no longer with us, and we used to mind cars, and then I don't know how that crossed over, because one day we just followed everyone up to the ground. And I always remember 1973, Leicester at home. We got up the back of the old cop, up them steps, and I always remember them slipping everywhere on the chip paper and the piss, them steps of the cop, and then we got passed down to the front. You know what I mean? I can't remember what score it was. I wasn't even bothered. I just remember, we bunked in as well, just under the old turnstiles. Yeah. So, as I say, yeah, similar. Our kid would tell me stories. My dad would tell me stories, and as an adventurous kid, never stayed still. So, and I'm still doing it now, I like to think.
Yeah.
Getting off. That's what we used to call it when we were going abroad in the ACL, just, getting off. That's what it was called. Yeah.
Yeah. Or leg it.
Yeah.
Was that then, as a 7-year-old, the love affair then for Liverpool?
Yeah, and Everton. I mean, not love affair for Everton, but yeah, as I say, I live just where anyone knows it, where the halfway house is by Everton Valley. That's where I was born, right opposite the halfway house. So probably Goodison and Anfield are probably exactly the same distance from our house. So it'd be Liverpool one week, Everton the next. You
hear that a lot, actually, don't you?
Yeah, in our area it was. In our area we all went Liverpool one week. It was a play. Goodison and Anfield were a playground for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kids who come from the building in Jeddah Gardens town. The town was a playground for them.
And did you? So what sort of age were you sort of starting to follow? I hope not 7 years old following Liverpool around.
Following the pool away.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I know kids who are going to away games at 10, not me. But I've got mates who Paul was... I think Paul mentioned that he went to an away game when he was about 11 or something. No, I didn't start going to away games till I was about 13 or something. I had a strict time.
I love that. So shocked at 11. No, not 11. 13 I was.
Yeah, but my half fella was strict. My ma died when I was 4, so my half fella, he fought in the war and all that. He was pretty strict. He was a lot of... I say, when my ma died, he must have been about my age now, probably around 52. And so he was pretty strict. Our kid got more of a long leash. Our kids ended up in and out of care, always in trouble. So where he always slipped up with that or failed with our kid, I used to pay for it. So he was quite strict, me half fella. So I couldn't just really disappear at the age of 10 down to, like, say, Tottenham away. But I'll tell you now, there's plenty of kids out there, and a lot who are listening to this who defo did.
Yeah.
13 is young though. Jesus.
Yeah. But I mean, I mentioned it on pause. I mean, actually one of my friends, Reggie, shout out to him, he actually got in touch with me and said we were 14, it was 13 or 14 when I went to Birmingham away. But again, I told my dad I was going paintballing for the day and went down. But I think it's at that age when it is a big adventure, isn't it?
Yeah, the taste I've got getting abroad with Liverpool, I had a mate, Boyle, he's another one, he's not with us now. There's so many characters who, you know what I mean, he's not with us. And like, he was in our class in school, and he'd go abroad when he was 14, grafting, and coming back with all kinds of gear, you know. He'd be going with older lads who were like, 20 or something, and he was coming back with all kinds of gear. I've mentioned it before. Back then, if he wanted to know what the latest trackie or the latest trainees or were, back, I'm talking about like around 1980, 81, go up Anfield Road when Liverpool playing, see what Boylo's wearing, and that's the brand new thing. What's just at these shows.
And what kind of... Can
I just point out, just all that, and when he was 16, he was driving around in a pink Jag. That's how charismatic he was, if you like.
What impact then do you think Liverpool doing so well on the football pitch did that have on the local lads? Or do you think you and the likes of these lads would have been going to Europe anyway? Do you think and bringing this stuff back? Or
I doubt it. Probably doubt it. We're blessed, aren't we? I had a kid working for me. I'd done a trainees festival up in Scotland. A kid from, I think it's Dumbarton he's from, and I hope I got that right. I might have been. It's just outside Glasgow, and. He was telling me about, he was a mad, I hope it was Dumbarton. he was a mad fan of that team anyway, and tell me all about it. And I just said, how many do you get every week? And he said, like, at least 4,000. I thought 4,000, and he lived in the shadow of the ground as well because I picked him up. And I thought, imagine, like how blessed are we, going up to Anfield every week and there's 52,000 fans, and the greatest team in the world at the time probably was on my doorstep. So obviously had a big impact on growing up Liverpool.
When did you start have you always had an interest then in like trainers and things like that? Did it stem from when you went away when you were younger?
It's all that didn't actually it all didn't actually start by kids going abroad and getting geared. Started like around 77, kids mainly from Liverpool. I mean, I'm not one of these who like to shout Scousers were the first with this, that and the other, because the Manx were as well. London was way behind, but the Manx weren't too far behind the Scousers. And so back then there was a changeover around about 77, 78 to like lads who like our kids who were older, who wore like all the denim jackets, and in fact they looked like fucking, they were in Queen or something, or T-Rex. That's how they dress, with flares, denim jackets, long hair, check shirts, suede's. And then Liverpool, kids from Liverpool and Manchester started like changing, wearing narrow jeans, small collared shirts, short, sharp haircuts, wedge haircuts and that. And that change was around about 78. Manchester had its Perry Boys, because of they were all into wearing Fred Perry's. Scousers wearing Fred Perry's, but never really had a name. You know, we were referred to as Scallies. So it started changing then. So the sportswear from Europe and that didn't come into about 80, 81. But there was a change back then. I remember back in around 78, there was a different pair of jeans out every week. There was a Niga, King, FUs, Lois, Ferrucci. The FUs, you had to go up to a shop in Manchester for them, in the Arndale, called the G Machine. And that was like going to like an away game, because the Manx also knew that you were coming for, Scousers were coming up there, you know what I mean? So stuff like that, I mean, you know.
Scraps? Or so
yeah,
like...
Well, yeah, just imagine you had to go, them shoes you've got on there.
He's from Wigan,
Okay, well, just imagine them shoes you've got on there. You're a Scouse, and them shoes, they only sell them in the building in Birmingham where everyone ate Scousers. And you know there's a good chance you're going to at least get chased or you're going to get done in. But you're still going to get them. And that's what it was like. You go to Manchester for a pair of FUs knowing that quite possibly you were going to get ads off. I mean, how crazy, how mad are you to like, over a pair of jeans?
Well, a pair of jeans.
And they come down later on, they come down here to like to Wade Smith, knowing that they would quite easily get sussed out and get ads off.
Yeah. I wouldn't go shopping. Imagine that now, Jack Willis. Is it Jack Wills? Sorry, Jack Wills. Imagine going to Jack Wills or somewhere like that.
But now, though, jumping way ahead for a second, do you find Manx are wearing Transalpino?
Yeah. Defo, yeah.
I've not seen any Manx getting filled in on Bold Street, to be fair.
Times have changed. But yeah, I know a few hardcore Manx who hate Liverpool. Man United, who hate Liverpool FC. Dirty next one. Poolies one. They're proper staunch United fans, and they wear Transalpino. Poolies been in 2 or 3 times buying the gear. So yeah, we try and not pigeonhole all ourselves. It's not easy, but try and not pigeonhole ourselves as a Liverpool FC brand, which we're not. We've only ever done one T-shirt, and that was for Kiev, which if it didn't capitalise on that, I'd be a fool. So I try not pigeonhole me, but with being a Liverpool fan and travelling with Liverpool, it's hard not to post some of the journeys on social media.
So as well, you've got football. You mentioned the fashion. What was it like growing up in Liverpool in the kind of 70s and 80s then as well?
Let's say my ma died when I was 4. My dad was left with, my dad was a Jockey, and he was around 52 then. He was left with 2 kids, a 10-year-old and me, who was a 4-year-old. And it sounds horrific, but you know what? I had a fucking brilliant childhood. Yeah. It was great where we lived. I mean, all my aunties, I had family who lived near us, like backed onto each other, but on the set of streets off Walton Road. And, you know, there was always something to do back then. There was, I mean, if you could go out and smash an house up, empty houses, by the way. You could go out and smash houses up, and no one had really do it, because they were getting knocked down anyway. We were in the middle of a big, massive slum clearance, probably the biggest slum clearance since the war around 1970. So we could just go and, someone moved out of an house, we could just go and smash it to bits. And
your playground was the empty houses.
Yeah, it was. So my playground was all that.
What were they doing with it? Knocking them down for new houses?
Yeah. You go drive along Walton Road, anywhere around Kray, all them houses. Well, you see now, them estates were like 40 years old. Obviously, it was all set of streets back then. But sorry, what did you say then?
Just about that
was our playground. Liverpool and Everton and Goodison was our playground, and we were playing footy in the streets till all hours. There wasn't like the cars you see now. You know what I mean?
Interesting forms of like no monkey bars. Then just jumping in and out of the back gardens.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. My childhood was completely separate. I wasn't burning down houses or fucking...
Well, I didn't actually even mention burning down, but as you come to it, there used to be a couple of little arsonists. I wasn't one of them, but it's mad. Like the arson, you had your smashes uppers, like us collecting bommy woods. You know, I mean, we used to start collecting bommy woods in August in the school holidays. Yeah, you know what I mean, and.
I've even noticed that now, though. There's bonfires don't seem to be as good. Even in my childhood, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, bonfires don't seem to be as big anymore.
They have a couple of big ones still down by ours.
I went that one actually, yeah.
There's like this 40-year-old still collecting bomby by ours. But I getting back to the arsonists. Out of all the kids you knew, because you knew who the other kids were, and you know, off from other streets. And there used to be a couple of little arsonists about who burn your bomby, but there's also burn bombies down, which was a bit dangerous. But the thing with it, they'd always be there. If you ever see a fire now, and you can tell it's arson, like just around here, a empty factories being burnt down, there'll always be a little set of kids about 200 yards off watching it, and I can guarantee you one of them is the arsonist. I mean, why burn something down if you can't watch it? If you're not going to watch it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Our times have changed. Our times have changed. So going on from that, when do you think then, what age were you when you thought, would you ever class yourself as being a staunch match goer, going kind of home and away when you were growing up?
No, not compared to some of the people I know.
Yeah, but everyone can say that. I mean, I'd like to think that, you know, over the years I've won more some years than other. I've been more years than other years. But I think everyone probably knows someone who goes every week home and away.
Listen, I know someone who hasn't missed a game until very recently. Haven't missed a game since 1996. And the reason he missed that game was because he was remanded in custody for a week. So he'd been to, before that he hadn't missed a game for years. Mono, he hasn't missed it.
Yeah, I know Mono.
He hardly misses a game. And there's lots of others. Bobby Wilcox, who's no longer with us. A fella called John Morland's missed 2 home games since 1956, I think.
Jesus.
He's someone you want to get on here. Yeah, there is some crazy fans, so I couldn't even begin to lace their boots. For me, the match was more of a social occasion rather than an addiction to what's going on. I mean, it was great what was going on the pitch, you know what I mean? But it was a whole social occasion for me, the match.
But that's what I think when I think about kind of what I feel at the moment. This is my first season with a season ticket, and the thing I enjoy most is everything which I think you've kind of encapsulated with Transalpino, and that kind of vibe is the social aspect of it. You know, you go in a couple of hours before the game, you're catching up with your mates, having a few pints, you go and watch the match, you're all kind of dressed similar ways. Now afterwards, you go in the halfway house, you're seeing Webster playing, you might go into town, go to one of the boss nights, people are wearing the same type of clothes, same kind of people. That for me is the best part of the match. Yeah. You've just got this 90 minutes in between that.
Gets in the way sometimes.
Gets in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I went to see Liverpool in Romania a while back. It was 2004 or something. I think it was Champions League. Went all the way to Romania. It took a fucking day and a half getting there. But it was like a 5-day trip or something. And then we played them in the home leg. And I live just by the halfway house, behind the halfway house, and I was sitting on the couch. My bird said, "Aren't you going to the match?" I said, "I can't be arsed." She went, "You went to fucking Romania the other week." You know what I mean? She couldn't get her head around. The same game, the same team. She said, "You went to Romania to see them?" I said, "Can't be arsed going up there to see that."
That's crazy, isn't it, to think that?
Yeah, so it's the old...
I know some lads who went to Kiev in the summer to watch the Champions League final. And their stories were better. The lads who went on a coach, one of my mates, Robbie, took them 6-7 days, and it was great just seeing his WhatsApp of the adventure he had.
Yeah.
You know, we were all nursing the hangover of getting beat in the final.
Yeah.
And for the next 5 days, I was just watching him get home from Kiev. You know, on sending me pictures on the side. Or just that adventure is what
we don't do easy finals. Do the Istanbul, Athens, Kiev. It's in the Bernabeu this year. No way are we getting to a final in the Bernabeu. But you know where the UEFA Cup is, don't you?
Right,
it's in Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
We're nailed on for that. Yeah. Oh no, we can't even go in the UEFA Cup now.
No, yeah.
It's the other week it was possible. Yeah, but out there again. Let's hope we do get the Bernabeu then.
So when sort of going a bit forward then. So what did you do when in your sort of early 20s then? What did you do for work or like?
There was no work. When I left school in 1982, just after the Toxic riots. We still the city was still hungover from the Toxic riots. Thatcher was just getting stuck into us. I left school. I think 2,500 kids in Merseyside left school that year, and there was 11 jobs on the. There was 11 apprenticeships available in the building industry. So it was fuck up. We were straight on the scrap heap at 16.
What was that like? Because I've heard, obviously, grow up in Liverpool, what Thatcher, what Thatcher means in this city. But what was that like as someone coming out of school and you think of the opportunities and the dreams that people have? What does that feel like coming out of school and that's what you're living in?
It's mad because everyone, the generation before you, and the generation before you has been like, so I've left school in 82, so the generation before me has been the 70s, the 60s, and the generation before them has been 50s and the war, and everyone was in work. The area, I mean, Kirkdale, like Bootles, Docklands area, so my our fellows are Docker, all my mates, most of my mates our fellows were Dockers, but then the mothers worked in the likes of Tate and Lyle's, Tillerton's, the BA, so it was all related, so everyone was in work, and then suddenly, somewhere, the 70s, the 3-day week and all that, people started becoming out of work, and it wasn't, so it was sort of expected of us that we'd, not expected of us, but we were the first generation to like not have a job, you know what I mean, and with no chance of a job. Bit later on I ended up on drugs, we'll come to that bit later, but and a lot of kids my age ended up on drugs around about 84. We were perfect fodder for it, you know what I mean?
Is that just because there was fuck all else to do? Or
I don't know, I don't try to make excuses. I mean, what I will say is, and a lot of people might listen to this and think it's a mad conspiracy theory, I'm not saying Maggie Thatcher was landing at Heathrow with suitcases full of smack, or a cabinet was, but I'm pretty sure that when the riots were on in 81 and there was a revolution in the air in this country, and extremists were feeding on the youth back then to maybe, there was a feeling of revolution in the country. I'm quite sure that the powers that be back then weren't too disappointed to see thousands and thousands of kids end up on a drug like smack, which you're not getting out on the street and rioting if you're smacked up. So I'm not saying I'm not being a big conspiracy theory, but if you look into history in the States, in LA, it happened in LA in the 60s after the riots in Watts and other places in Detroit, I think. The same thing happened there. Drugs crept into them communities, you know what I mean, and fucked up the youth in them communities as well.
Mate, look at opioids now in the US. It's like...
Yeah.
I know, so I suppose you can't compare it to anything like that, but it's...
I've never thought of it like that, but actually it does make sense.
It's a bit of a crazy conspiracy thing. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying like they flooded it like...
Not saying Maggie Thatcher's Pablo Escobar,
it was very quite convenient. It's quite convenient as well. I mean, Smack hasn't been here for hundreds of years, and then within like 9 months of the toxic riots, it started creeping into them working class, anti-Tory communities. You know what I mean?
And from what you know, I mean, you might not know the answer to this, but was it just Liverpool where those drugs were getting into, or was it the whole UK, or was it again those working class cities?
Well, it didn't come to Liverpool, did it? Come to Birkenhead. It hit Birkenhead first. The theory is only what I've read in books from ex-coppers, isn't that? Is that like the organised crime groups from Liverpool thought, well, we won't shit on our doorsteps, and they thought the Birkenhead was far enough away, so it started over there first, and then when it did creep over there, it's Marsh Lane and Bootle and Crocky, and then the likes of Kirkdale and Everton pretty soon after.
So with that drug epidemic starting, the riots, did it feel, I mean, I know obviously I wasn't born then, but you look back and you see the disdain the kind of that time had. Was it at the time, did people feel we are getting shit on here? There's no jobs, there's drugs, did it feel that way in the city?
The older fellas, I'd say, we were kids leaving school, we didn't know any different. You leave school and you think the world's your oyster, but then you start looking for work and there is fuck all. So what's the old saying, the devil makes work for idle hands, and kids like me who had a bit of adventures in us started getting into trouble, doing things we shouldn't do, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like we were making a choice of work or no work. There was no work. I mean, our kid was he was older than me, in around 83, 84. He was in an unemployment. We had in Liverpool an unemployment football league, and this was 11-a-side. This wasn't 5-a-side, and you couldn't get a team in it. You know what I mean?
So busy.
It was so busy. No one had a job. You know, that's the only way you can sort of like try and explain it to anyone now. That, I mean, it was an 11-a-side football team on a Wednesday afternoon, and it was dead hard to put a team in it because there was that many applicants.
Imagine that though. Imagine that now. You know, 11. What did you say? 11 apprentices. 11 apprenticeships.
Yeah.
Nearly two and a half that.
And even sorry for butting in.
No, go on.
Which brings me to like back then there was the March for Jobs, and where they marched from Liverpool, and I think they marched from Newcastle to London, and I think the big thing back then, when the Tories was in, we had 3 million unemployed. We're never going to 3 million unemployed now. I've seen how hard it is when you're out of work to try and sign on. You know what I mean? And they've got all these making kids stay on school till they're 18 now. There's like 700,000 off the dole queue straight away. So I mean, I don't know what the figures are now. What's out of work? But I reckon it'd probably be about 1.2 million. But in reality, the people who can't get full-time work,
especially the 0-hour contracts and all that.
Yeah,
the people who'd like to have a proper job, it's probably 4 million or something. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, hiding those figures somewhat.
And you know what? Getting back to like saying we got through on the scrap heap when we were 16. I wouldn't like to be a kid now leaving school. So
that's interesting. I was actually going to say then, which is completely against what you're going to say. I was going to say then, does it annoy you when kids now say, "Oh, there's no opportunities" and things like that? Because we live in a world where there's so much going on compared to the world you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd rather leave school as the way I left school, with fuck all back in 1982 with no prospects, than be a kid now and leave school. For us, or for not everyone, but for the likes of me, and Norman Tebbe, the Tory, said, you know, if they can't get a job, get on the bike. Why don't they get on the bike? We did. We got off our ass and we done what we had to do. You know what I mean? I've done prison. I was only ever a shoplifter. I wasn't really a bad kid, but got off our ass and did, you know, travelled and did what we had to do. So we made our own opportunities. But now, I mean, my lad at 21 had to go and live in Australia. Served his time here as a gas fitter, and then as soon as he come out of it around 2008, 2009, the building industry collapsed, and he's had to go to Australia. He's been in Australia 10 years now, so there's no opportunity for a young kid now. There is no opportunities. Back in the 80s, looking back in hindsight, there was plenty of opportunities for us if you wanted to grab the world by the horns.
It's interesting hearing your views on that. I would have thought someone who'd been through the harsh times you had would be a bit more. It's
hindsight though, isn't it? It's like, if I knew then what I know now, if it was as worldwide then as I like to think I am now, I'd probably be a multi-millionaire or something. So I mean, back then, like for example, you could go and buy a car, go down the boozer, get a fella to make you a tax disc, a logbook, a license, and then go and drive the car. You know what I mean? We used to get cars. We used to go to Europe. We used to have cars in Europe. Well, we'd treat them like our own cars, like brand new Golfs. So we'd hired in Europe. We'd change the plates, or we'd get cars here. We'd hire a car here, an Al Banger, get it insured for European travel for 16 quid, drive it, get across to Europe, and then we just fuck the engine up, and the RAC or whoever they are in France, whoever, I come along and go, "Oh, your car's kaput," and we go, "Yeah." They go, "Oh, yeah, it's a brand new Golf." As the parts insurance, we'd be driving around. It's, you know, stuff like that. You can't do that now. No. I mean, you can't even. I can't go out there and borrow your car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I do borrow your car and then go through a red light, you'll get through a speeding, you're getting the fine, and I can't even claim the fine. I can't take it for you because I'm not insured. You know, just everything's like Big Brother, innit?
Yeah, stories like that. You know what? As a Scouser, despite when people say about how tough like you have then the 70s, 80s, where I do miss my granda telling me stories about. He'd say you go in Bootle into town, the kind of 5 miles it is. And he said there'd just be pubs on every corner, and you'd say you go in one pub and you'd say, "I'm after a leather coat or something," and then the next night there'd be one there. You didn't even have to go to the shop. You'd say, "I'm after this bit of meat," and then the next night there's a bit of meat there, or whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And if you go down there now and all the pubs are bloody closed and, you know...
The days before mobile phones and most pubs, right, it's mad looking back. I mean, it's only just triggered it now. I mean, I'd forgot all about it. You go, say you would have to Jerry. You'd find Jerry and like the barmaid was like a what do they call it? The barmaid was like a
receptionist.
No, what is it when you
concierge?
Yeah, you know, a phone operator, what is it? The
phone operator.
Yeah, secretary. You'd phone up like the halfway house, goes Jerry there, Jerry. Oh, who is it, Jerry? You know, this was the public phone. Yeah. So back then, like. Pubs were chocker every day and every night, all week. So, and it was mad because before mobile phones, if Jerry wasn't next to that phone, you'd have to go and find him, right? So you call in the halfway house, Jerry, and no, I think he might have gone to St. Hilda's. So if you only go out for like 10 minutes to have a word with Jerry. If he's not there, then you go to St. Hilda's, you've had one in there. By the time you fucking found Jerry, five boozes later, you're rotten. You're out for the night. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's how it, like, all the business. I mean, you hear people getting nicked nowadays and you see them in the echo and they say, and the excuse is, I bought her off a fella in the pub. That doesn't happen nowadays, but back then, it did. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I really like that. So I said to you before, I really enjoy that sort of like entrepreneurship sort of like mindset, you know, in crime. Because I think if you transfer that into normal everyday world, you can become extreme. You know, that hustling sort of like...
I remember a fella who had a Jack Russell and he used to sell it. He used to sell the Jack Russell in different boozers. The Jack Russell was like an Omen pigeon. He'd sell it for like 30 quid, but the Jack Russell always ends up going back to him.
Like a Omen pigeon?
Yeah. I think there's about 20 people had the claims to the Jack Russell.
That's all you showed me, mate, to do the stuff again. Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to start training my dog to do that.
But stuff like, you know what, stuff like that, I think, listen, I'm from a different world, but fuck me, it always interests me, that sort of like, yeah, I think I even mentioned it to Paul Walmsley, you know, how when people are in that world of, all right, whatever he was doing, grafting, etc., when they transfer it into something that's legal, they can fucking fly because they've seen that world, being part of it, and not only have all the people been against them in terms of gangs or whatever, but also the police. But then when they haven't got that burden on the head, they can fucking fly.
I remember another one, I won't mention him, he said, this fella, halfway house again. I grew up by the halfway house, a lot of my stories from the halfway house. Our kids was I'll come to the other story, our kids was the barman in there for 10 years. And then he died, our kid, in 2009. He was the barman in there for 10 years, but he ended up, after the barman, he got barred out of there. So when he died, we had the wake in the halfway house for him, even though he was bad, you know what I mean? But anyway, this was when our kid was a barman. This other fellow, I won't mention his name, but outside the halfway house, the OST were going past, and he had a bit of trouble with someone. He's chasing someone along.
What's that, the OST, sorry?
The Matrix is the OST then. And he's chasing this fella along Walton Road with this big kitchen knife. So the OST, the Matrix jump out, nick him for, you know, whatever the charge is, offensive weapon or something. So it gets to court and he pleads not guilty, but the judge or the magistrate says, but you were caught with the knife chasing someone along Walton Road. He said, what happened was he said, what happened was, he said, I've been town shopping with me missus, she's gone home, and I said to me missus, you go home, make the tea, I'm just going for one in the halfway house. He said, so I still had some of the shopping. He said, we just bought a big set of steak knives. so the magistrate went, go on. So he said, what's happened? He said, I'm in the halfway house. He said, and I've gone to the toilet and I've left my steak knives there. He said, when I've come back from the toilet, some bastards robbed me steak knives, but they left one. He said, so when I've gone out looking for them, and when the police have seen me with this knife shouting me head off, what I'm shouting is, you bastards, come back with me steak knives. Look, you've only left me one. Waving one in the air. Magistrate give him not guilty.
No way. Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
I like the halfway house. I go there now after the game.
That little bit of, what is it they say about the British law system? That if there's a little bit of doubt, they've got to acquit or something like that.
Yeah. Reasonable doubt or something like that. Fucking hell. When did the you just alluded to it a second earlier about drugs and things like that. When did that kick in then?
For me,
Yeah.
a little bit later. A little bit. I mean, I dabbled around it with it, like I said, at the city, around about 82. And again, Scouts is where they're always onto something first. And I'm talking about the charismatic lads in the neighbourhood, the lads who'd previously been going abroad, getting all the stuff first and all that. That became fashionable. So you go in boozers and you'd see people smoking heroin in boozers, like they're smoking a ciggy, you know what I mean? Like they're smoking a spliff or whatever. So it starts creeping, and no one becomes an addict overnight. So that a lot of them are messing around for 18 months before you start noticing that, you know, something's going on there. I messed with it in 84, 85, but never really got a problem. Started a problem with it till about 87, because I was seeing someone at the time, so she probably kept me sort of on the straight and narrow. But again, it got a grip of me then around about 87, 88.
Why? Just because
that's the big question, isn't it? I don't know. I'd say, looking back, when you walk around now and see people on drugs, on heroin, on crack, you're looking at like something out The Walking Dead. You're looking at walking skeletons. We didn't see people like that.
Yeah.
Back then, the people who we seen were hard fellas, you know, hard cases like your peers were taking it. So it was like fashionable. And then like I see other kids who never touched it. It's mad. I mean, you could grow up next to someone, you could grow up with them from the age of 0, and you end up on it and they don't. And I don't know, it's a lottery, isn't it? I just don't know. I mean,
is it just trying to like a bit of an adrenaline rush to do it? Like, what's the? Is it just?
It's never going to happen to you. I mean, tried all kinds, tried trips, tried weed, tried speed, everything, and then something just comes along and gets a grip of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're trying everything, but that's something that was highly addictive. The story at the time was supposed to be if you never if you didn't inject it, you were okay. If you just smoked it, you wouldn't get addicted. I mean, I don't know. It's just.
Was that first? Or was it to try and do because everyone else was doing, like you say, your peers? Was that ever a thing for you? That social, that peer pressure? It
may have been curiosity as well, isn't it? Curiosity, but then you know you didn't see these skeletons walking around. You know, these zombies. What you see now, it wasn't like that. You were out and about, and whatever was fashionable, you were getting. You know, you were street kids and you know, and they were street drugs.
Yeah, and then so like late 80s, that's when sort of the rave culture, because it's not a rave drug, is it? To my knowledge.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm being a little bit sketchy about around 87, 88. I was taking it then, had a problem, but then Rave come along, didn't it? August 88. Rave come along for us in Liverpool. It was 88. London was a bit earlier, Ibiza and that. So maybe that diluted my addiction back then, because I was also going out raving. But again, when you've been raving, if you have been taking heroin, at the end of the night, it was like the perfect thing to bring you down. So it might have even made it worse. Then Hillsborough come along in 89, and in no way I'm trying to relate my addiction to Hillsborough, but I do remember from a dateline after Hillsborough, it was just a roller coaster for me then.
Paul said the exact same thing, didn't he? Just said after Hillsborough he was numb. He said like the whole city was all experimental.
Do you know what he did mention? He said he'd come home and had an ecstasy tablet. I did. I don't know whether he had a tablet that night, but I'd come home and went to state because there was no mobile phones then. So you go to your usual haunts to get any information that, you know, because, you know, the news wasn't any help. We didn't even have 24-hour news then, did we? But yeah, so you go to your usual haunts and, you know, to get any information. That night, yeah, I went to
and you watched seeing Paul?
Sorry?
You seen Paul then?
Oh, I don't know. No, it's just that I heard it on the show, and I recognised it.
I guess, yeah, everyone was after Hillsborough. I mean, I can't imagine, but it was just numb. And he said, obviously, the drugs anyway, and just for people going to the match like that, it was just obviously an awful time. And for you think it, well, it obviously did make it worse in a sense.
Well, I never went to a game again after Hillsborough till for 6 or 7 years. I went to Wembley to the Liverpool and Everton final. And then after that, I never went to another game till Aston Villa in the semi-final in '96 at Old Trafford. I can't remember with us winning the league in 1990.
Really, yeah.
No, I don't know nothing about. I was that out of it in 1990. I thought Mark. Is it Mark right? Didn't you ginger hair?
Yeah,
I thought he was black.
Really?
That's on our kid's life. I thought he was black because at the same time you had Ian Wright and Mark Bright, and I was that. The one I'm trying to say is I was that so uninterested in football and Liverpool FC for whatever reason that I thought he was black.
That's crazy to think you've grown up as well, and then you just
wasn't interested whatsoever. I say, for whatever reasons, late '89 and the first half of the '90s, I was on a crazy roller coaster, and Liverpool was of no interest to me.
Can I just jump back to the Rave era, because I remember I watched the documentary not that long ago actually, and I'd like to get your sort of what it was like for you anyway. You know, like cars driving like in convoy fucking down the motorway to find this one spot that people had talked about, because again sort of it wasn't the same way you can just fucking WhatsApp people now and just go yeah it's in wherever. What was that like? Yeah,
it was where you become the state or whatever, where's on, and there'd be warehouse parties. First of all, it was Sefton Park in the summer of 88, and then that stopped as the weather got bad. One night I remember, because so it'd be like a grapevine. I mean,
just be like
there was no
Chinese
mobile phones. Yeah, it'd be like there's one in Bed. I remember there was one in Bedford Road, Beetle, right? So we walked along Scotty, jumped into a cab on Scotty. I always remember. Our ex-jocker you could tell he was an ex-jocker driving the cab. It had no mesh or nothing. So we're off our barn. We don't think we're off our bonnets, but this fella's about 6 and he's looked at us and he's thought these two are off the fucking bonnets, right? So we've jumped in, we've gone, all right, mate. We said, have you got a radio in this cab? Can you radio through to anyone? Well, straight away he's thought, these cunts want to rob me. They're just checking if got what we wanted the radio for was so we could radio another cabbie and see where all the cabs are heading for. So he went, I know what your fucking game is. So he's picked us up on Scotty, heading towards Bootle. So he's gone through the lights by the Cunard, and that next thing he's just turned into Stanley Road Police Station, right round the back, locked the door. He must have been able to lock the doors, and he's beeping and all coppers all come running out. He said, these are trying to rob me. But all we want is to know where the fucking radio. We want them to radio with the cabbies and say, oh yeah, everyone's headed to. Anyway, we eventually got there and it got raiders anyway. Down Bedford Road down there.
It didn't happen.
But the point is that you know what I mean.
Was it just parties every like not just weekends? It was like
Sundays, Tuesdays. Yeah, I say I didn't have a job then. I was up to, but you know. We were going abroad and everything by then, and I often think back and think, how did people who had a 9-to-5 job get to work? You know what I mean?
And this was all on ecstasy.
Yeah, well, when it come out, I don't even think it was classified. I don't even think it was illegal. I think it got rushed through MDMA or the form of the tablets. As from what I can remember at the time, I don't even know if it was illegal. The press knew nothing about it for a couple of years, did they? When the press did, I think it was that shit all over newspaper. The Sun said they were on a raid at a festival in about 1990, and they said there was ecstasy wrappers all over the floor. I mean, ecstasy never come wrapped. You know what I mean? So the press went onto it, and it was an underground. It was a proper underground movement. Told Alan McGee on his show last week about the time we'd been abroad and we went back to London, ended up in the Camden Pally around 89, 90 with these birds who we knew from London, they're from Islington, and when we've gone in there, we knew that they knew lads who were Spurs and Arsenal and that, and when we've gone into the Camden Pally, there was a senior firm, I think they were Spurs, looking over at us, and I said to Boylo, I said, there's a firm over there, I think the Spurs, they're looking at us. I said, but do you know what? I said, we're fucking West Ham. Because we knew like West Ham lads. I said, you know what? I said, Boylo, they're coming over to us. Just come on top. They come over and went, all right, Scouts, what he's doing here? Just want a pill, just want a, you know what I mean? It
brought people together.
Yeah, people say Scouts would be going up at the Hacienda. They'd be coming down here, and there was no trouble.
Yeah, it was massive, the Hacienda, wasn't it?
I never went.
No, block of flats now.
Yeah, I never went myself.
Can I ask then as well, when all this is going on, you say from like mid-70s to now going into the 90s, how are you funding your life? What's happening?
For a bit, I worked in the job. I had a casual job in Liverpool Echo on nights. Most of when I worked there was on nights. So that was from around 84, on and off. During that time, it's mad because I'd be on and off working it. I actually done a 3-week sentence in Germany while I worked in the Echo, but it was on and off. It was like casual work, so I didn't have a contract where I never turned up. So they'd phone me up when there was work, and I actually done 3 weeks in Germany and come back and went back to work.
Straight into work.
Yeah. So yeah, I was working, but then when we were working, we were out shoplifting. It was mad looking back out, you know. And
just in Liverpool, or like you say, all over Europe, or
yeah, all over the country, all over Europe. Yeah. Just flying over to Germany.
What nicking what though?
Mainly clothes, mainly leather jackets, clothes. Back then you could get like video cameras, Walkmans. Quite ironic as a shop owner, I'm telling you this now, isn't it?
So I mean, is it getting to a point where you're almost taking orders? You're thinking, right, look, I'm going to Germany next week or something. What are you after? And then you're going thinking, I need to nick a load of trainers, I need to lick some leather coats, I need to, or are you just taking?
It's like anything, you know what's selling well, don't you? Suits, leather jackets, video cameras were a good one back then. So yeah, I don't know. It's just that's what we were doing. We were at it all the time.
Just making it
was like a career. You know what I mean? Like a career choice. But it's mad when I look at it. I'm not that person. I would just like to say that when I look back at that person, that's not me. I say I'm not trying to glamorize it, but the thought of like certainly in Germany, getting up in the morning, going out shoplifting, knowing that quite possibly you're ending up in jail that night and you're not getting bail over there as a foreign national sort of thing. So it's crazy when I look back that I will live my life then.
What was that story? I seen something on Twitter you put, I think it was around Christmas, and you said
I was so
I thought that was a really nice tweet, that, because it was something to do with, you know,
it was something to do. It was something. It was relating to a racist tweet, not a racist tweet, but it was relating to. I forgot what it was relating to. But
I think it was. You're right. I think it was racist and like division and people, being different. And
or it just might have been an anniversary. Anyway, basically, I got nicked in a place called Wurzburg in Bavaria.
Bavaria? Do you say it like that?
Bavaria.
I say Bavaria.
Bavaria. I'm a little bit gentrified nowadays. So that's me radio voice, that.
Is it? Yeah.
So in Bavaria, I got nicked in November 1989.
For shoplifting?
No, for a safe. It was because we also used to do like. Fucking hell, shouldn't even be talking about all this. Okay, so say for instance, I mean, there's shops over there called Peek and Kloppenberg. So do you know the distance between Munich and Hamburg is 1,200 miles? It could be, just for example. So if you take the key out of a safe, out of a till, if there's a key in the till in Peek and Kloppenberg in fucking Munich, right? That fits every till from Munich to Hamburg in Peek and Kloppenberg. So basically we'd have bunches of keys. Fucking hell, shouldn't be talking about. So
it's clever. That's
genius. So at the end of the night, at the end of the day, each floor in a department store over there, they empty all the tills, and it sort of goes into like a master till. So they put in this leather pouch.
Yeah.
So they empty and back then it's all cash, isn't it? So they'd always be quite easily just on the floor 6, 7, 8, 10 grand. So we'd just sit off, and the restaurants would always seem to be on the 4th or the 5th floor. So we'd just sit off and watch all this and then make our move. And this night, I went over on my own on this occasion. And anyway, it come on top. And a member of the public seen me. So it's 4 floors up. I got rid of the money, the pouch. By the time I got to the ground floor, they were waiting for me. So anyway, ended up in jail about mid-November. first time more or less the first time in jail, and was on drugs. So I was withdrawing. So they threw me in solitary. So I was in solitary right up to Christmas Day with nothing. Christmas week they started letting me go out on the yard, and the only other English speakers really there were the Africans, these West Africans from Nigeria and wherever else next to
Somalia.
No, Western Africa.
Ivory Coast way.
Yeah, Ghana. I think they were. Is that West or East?
Well, yeah. It's sort of,
So they sort of not become friends with them. So next thing, Dave, the tweet was referring to as I'll always. It was referred.
Yeah, it was like Christmas Day, like.
I don't know what it was anyway. I said the only people who ever helped me out with the Africans, and they turned up at the cell on Christmas Day with cakes, oranges, a radio, books, and he always thought it was a really nice touch. But the same day, I had been in solitary for a couple of weeks, and they took about 4 weeks, and they took me out of there and put me in this cell, and I had bottles of. They allowed me to go to the canteen. I had bottles of coconut. I was in there for a few hours Christmas Day. The Africans had been, and then the door burst open, and there was this the guards with this fella holding this fella up. So I was about 23 then, 22. This fella turns out he was 46. I later find out. So Polish fella, but he was living in Germany. So they bring him into the cell. Sounds cut this short. I'll make a long story short. So they brought him carried him into the cell. He was on the liquid cosh. I was on the bottom bunk, so they made me climb up onto the top, and then they started going around the cell, taking the Coke bottles I had were actually glass. Started taking me Coke bottles out, and the cutlery was metal as well, and he was taking me cutlery, me knife and all that. I was going, what the fuck's going on? They went, in broken English, this man may kill. And I thought, what did he mean?
Brilliant.
He may kill himself. I think they meant this man may kill himself. So anyway. So they give us a bit of it was always 23-hour bang up, because it was Christmas Day. They let us out on the landing, and I got this Indian fella in who spoke German, even though the fella was Polish. He must have spoke German as well. And I was saying, ask him what he's in for, because I'd been saying to the fella, what are you in for? He was laughing and crying on the bottom bunk. He was just going from he was going from one extreme to the other. I was going, what are you in for? And he just gone, I mean, we're on the radio, but he kept on giving this with his hand, this bum 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 sign. I was going, what have you done? So I said to the Indian fella, ask him what he's done. So he started telling the Indian the same story, bum bum bum, with his hand, hammer, hammering. And I said, what's he done? The Indian fella said, I can't tell you. I said, fucking tell me, will you? I'm getting locked back up. The Indian fella, what he done anyway? To cut a long story short, the night before, he'd gone into his wife's bedroom and murdered his wife with a ball-peen hammer. Then he'd gone and murdered his son with a ball-peen hammer. Then he'd gone and murdered his daughter with a ball-peen hammer and a daughter's boyfriend. But he'd lived the daughter's boyfriend, right? So I think he'd killed 4. This is the night before they threw him in with me, right? So anyway, fucking screws have locked us up. I'm going, oh, fucking hell. So next thing... There he is, he's crying, he's laughing, I'm on the fucking top bunk shitting myself. And next thing, the Beatles come on the radio. The Africans had given me a radio, hadn't they? So the Beatles come on the radio fucking Hard Day's Night something, and he went, he was 46, the fella. He said, the Beatles, he said, they're the same age as me, 46. I went, so, yeah, right, okay, yeah. I said, you're from Liverpool? He said, the Beatles, yeah. He said, how old are you? I said, I'm 23. He went, He said, my son, he's 23. I thought, you fucking killed your son last night. I thought, oh shit, he thinks I'm his son now. You know what I mean? So he started snoring, and I was like, I'd climbed inside me duvet. I don't know, I'm fucking telling you this story. So I've climbed inside me. Meanwhile, you've got this slot outside your cell, which when it's called a Judas, and a little, you can open it to look into the cell, and it closes all day. That was just going. This fella was all over he was like the Fred West. Yeah, he's like the Fred West of Germany. He was all over the news all day, and everyone wanted to see what this fella looked like. So the spy hole was going all day. So I'm on the top bunk. I've climbed in the duvet. So in the middle of the night, I heard a bit of ruffling off the bottom bunk, and he climbs up. He gets out of bed, and he climbs up, and he reaches under the duvet. And I don't know whether he was trying to balance himself, but he touched me anyway, and I just jumped up screaming, jumped off the top bunk, pushed him. He ended up hitting the deck and sort of, he was already on lag oxal, sort of knocked himself out. And I just jumped up, picked up this metal chair and just hammered it against the door all night. And but they never come. Come. And then the next morning, they come and took him away. The men in the white coats come and took him away the next day.
God.
But
it's gonna be the worst night's sleep of your life, that, hasn't it?
He's murdered. He's killed all his family the night before.
Jesus.
It's the fact it's the night before, I think, is the scariest
or the day before, or maybe 2 days. You know, it's sort of like I don't know what the thought process was. Was they wanted someone like me to keep an eye on him, or that's why they might have said to me, "This man may kill," but fucking hell.
And then also, like, when you're trying to get help, smashing the chair against the door.
No one's coming.
No one's coming.
And they took him away, never to be heard of. I've Googled it and everything, trying to... But I didn't have a name, obviously, or nothing, but I've Googled Bavarian, man in Bavaria kills family in 19... Nothing's ever come up, but... Fucking madness.
It must be weird being locked up abroad as well.
Banged up abroad,
Up abroad, yeah.
But while we're on it, when I say that was my first time, it wasn't my first time in prison. My first time in prison was a couple of months earlier in September 89. That was November 89. September 89, I got nicked in Guildford shoplifting. And I also had fines, so I got dealt with on the shoplifting, whatever, to give me a suspended sentence or whatever. But because of my fines, I had no money. They sent me to prison for 10 days or something. So sent us down to Lewis on the south coast by Brighton. And so on the way down there, the coppers or the screws who take us down there saying to me, you do know Reggie Kray's in this jail, don't you? And I said, oh, yeah, okay. So I'd never been in jail and fucking tell me Reggie Kray's there, but I thought, well, obviously I'm not going to see him because I'm only doing 5 days and he's doing 30 years. So we get there, it's quite a journey. So we get there a bit late. So next thing, I've got to go and get me pack, everything from the stores. I've never been in jail before, so I don't know the process. So I'm getting sent here, there and everywhere. Whether it's like when you get a job and they send you for fucking tartan paint and a glass hammer. So I'm getting sent here, there and everywhere. It's getting late now. It's past tea time. So in this prison, like a lot of prisons, like a round 10 bob circle with all wings coming off it. So I'm going past and I see this fella and I see it's Reggie Kray. He's all suntanned. He's dripping in gold. He's got like these cycling shorts on and all that. So this isn't the lunatic one. This is Reggie.
This isn't the gay one. No, the gay crazy one.
No, this is the other one. So so in the end, I know who it is. So I've gone, hey mate, can you tell me where the stores is or where to get? He goes, oh yeah, go on, Scouse. Does that sound like a Cockney then, or Jamaican or Welsh? He went to Scouse, go up there. So that was it. So I'd fucking gone back to himself. I'm withdrawn as well. So I go back to myself, I said, fucking hell, just seen Reggie Kray there. So anyway, that was the first day. So I'm withdrawing for 2 or 3 days. And when you withdraw and you have highs and lows, you get like energy surges and that. Anyway, 4 days in or something, the door opens, the screw says, do you want a game of footy? I go, I was actually in the middle of one of me energy surges. So I went, yeah, go on. So get down to the gym. By that time I'm fucked. My energy is gone. Get down. It's like when you're in school. So I go down there, so there's Reggie Kray and this other big London gangster, this big fucking massive fella, and so we all line up, it's like school, so they're picking teams, right?
Fucking hell.
So Reggie Kray eventually picks me, right?
So we got this bit alive, he was last pick, wasn't he, really?
No, so it's 11 aside, so we go out onto the pitch. I said, I'll go and goal. So I was fucked, you know what I mean? So I thought, I'll go and goal. So I only knew one person's name, and that was Reggie Kray. And he was me right back in goal. So I was actually doing all right. I was fucking like a cat. I was flying here, there and everywhere saving this. Reggie Kray turned around, he's going, loads of bollocks, Scouts, loads of bollocks. He's right, Scouts. And so I'm going, Reggie, pick him up. Reggie, watch him. In the end, Reggie Kray turns around to me, I'm pointing, I'm going, Reggie, get him. In the end, Reggie Kray turns around and goes, listen, Scouts, He said, don't point if it ain't loaded. You know what I mean? And like, to this day, if anyone ever points, he was only messing. To this day, if anyone ever points at me, I say to them, listen, you don't point if it ain't loaded. Reggie Kray learnt me that, and he'd look at me fucking puzzled. You know what I mean?
It's a story to tell.
But them two stories shows you how mad the system is. That like, a kid who's doing like 5 days is just threw in with a fella who's doing 30 years and a mass murderer who's...
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
They must separate it now. They do. Like they've got a category, surely. Like
they did them, but I don't know.
But there's no way. It's quite obvious that you say, you know, prisons can be a breeding ground. Well, it is if you're putting, for example, a young impressionable lad with one of London's biggest gang or the country's biggest gangsters. It's you could easily be taken under his wing, couldn't you? And
I say I was only doing 5 days for my fines. Come out of jail, I was on drugs back then, the Rave era. I've just been in jail with Reggie Kray, must have been thinking, looking at me as if to say,
he's still on a trip.
This soft cunt.
Yeah.
What did you, so when you were shoplifting, what did you do? Just walk in? What was the setup?
You a copper?
Has anyone been accused of this before?
What do you know? No,
Tom likes to go into all the what's it called, intricacies.
Yeah, no, I'm not asking for sort of like the masterclass.
Do you know what? It become like a second nature.
Do you know, like, what was the system? Do you just walk in, grab it, leg it, or is it?
No, it's a bit more
advanced,
a bit more finesse than that. I mean, you can't do it all nowadays. It's got all cameras everywhere, the sharing radios. I mean, even mobile phones must be against the shoplifters nowadays. You just have your whatever way you worked. Different gangs work different ways. We used to change in rooms on some occasions, so we just have a full fill. One of us, say if there's 3 of us, want to go in, get all the gear together ready, so have it all rolled up, and then you'd have your fillers and your takers, so you'd have actually people who were skilled at rolling it up and filling the bag, and then you'd have the cool ones who'd be able to walk out with a straight face. I mean, I used to graph with one lad, and we had to sack him in the end because every time he walked out with something, his face would go red. Like a big arrow above his head.
I feel half the stories like that, I mean, you could ask anyway. I mean, I don't think you could get away with nothing now. Just the way the world's changed so much.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'd hate to be a young kid leaving school now. You know what I mean? There's no opportunities whatsoever. Legal or illegal. I mean, kids. You hear kids now saying, "Oh yeah, he's a grafter. Or I'm doing a bit of graft." Selling drugs isn't graft. You know what I mean? Back then, graft was like going out and having a bit of a skill. I'm not trying to make it sound glamorous or something, but there was ways. You get off your arse and you'd use whatever talent you had.
You'd
now,
make things
drugs,
happen,
I've never sold drugs, and so it's not a talent.
Yeah. No, I do think, and I know what you mean with like glamorise it. I think just because, for me, because I've never been part of that world, it's just fascinating just to understand like the whole thing behind it. I'm certainly. Look, a lot of things glamorise. Look, you only have to look at Narcos on Netflix and all that stuff that, they do glamorise it a bit, but I think it's just interesting for, not part of that world, so.
That's a really dirty world, the drug world, where, it's, there's that many, as Paul pointed out last week, there's that many, what's the word, like...
Variables.
Just people who've got no morals and what have you. Back then, when we were shoplifting and grafting across Europe, at least there was a little bit of honour amongst thieves in a way. You know what I mean? If you'd done something wrong, you'd have to answer for it. You know what I mean? Or you get kicked off the firm or whatever.
Mate, kind of going on from that, where did it then start? Things started clicking. Because when
do you mean where did it all end? Where did it all go wrong?
But it's a few times it's gone a bit wrong, hasn't it? When you wake up with a bloody mass murder in your cell, it's probably gone wrong there for me. But I mean,
how did it come out of
you look back at those crazy stories, your Hillsborough, then the kind of dark patch, all that. What's the point in your life where you start thinking, right, I'm off to drugs, maybe I'm not shoplifting,
it didn't happen like that. I got nicked again. I've done 2 or 3 sentences I've done 3. I've done 2 in Germany and 1 in Switzerland. So 1994, I mean, 1994 was the turning point for me. November 21st, 1994. I got nicked in Bavaria in Munich. Got nicked in Munich. I'm going to go back there next when the pool play. I'm going back to the.
I want to go. You're going to need to spare them after the ticket if you got one.
I haven't got one. I've got one for myself. So I got nicked in Germany again. In where did I get nicked this time? I got nicked leaving Munich airport, and I was wanted. And I knew I was wanted, and I was travelling on a false passport, and like a soft bastard, like.
So I'm going to ask you now how you got this passport made.
So we were always travelling on false passports then, and I left the country. I was leaving the country. I think my name was David Forshaw at that point.
Right, David Forshaw.
Which before we'll just rewind back to that one when I was padded up at the Fred West of Germany, right? I was travelling in the name of David Parr. My name was David Parr then.
Double R.
Yeah. My name was David Parr, and my mate fucking wrote me a letter and wrote it to me in my name.
Your actual name or David Parr?
Yeah, my real name.
Oh.
You know, I wrote him a letter and put me prison number and David Parr, blah, blah. And he wrote me the letter back with the same prison number and and addressed it to me. So that was another charge I was on. So anyway, later on in 89, I got nicked in Munich airport, and I was wanted in Hanover. So I was nicked in Munich, wanted in Hanover. Got to court, took me fingerprints. They put me in a lunatic asylum for 2 days. I must have been flipping. They put me in this lunatic asylum, and they were coming in every hour or so and run these sharp objects across the soles of my feet, and had 2 armed guards hit me. To this day, I don't know why. In my head, I was just acting normal, but fucking I must have been carrying on. So got to court, and when I got to court, the as it turns up, I think I reckon I'll be able to get off with this, because it's explained what it was. I hired a car in Hanover and drove it to Pink Floyd concert when we were selling t-shirts, and drove it to Vienna. I thought, can't be arsed taking all the way back to Hanover, which is 1,200 miles away. So we just left it in the car park in Salzburg station with the keys in the ashtray, and I thought they'll find it the next day and fucking take it back themselves. It was a false passport and licence anyway. So that's what I was wanted for. They thought I drove it at the time. People were driving them into Eastern Europe and selling them. So I was wanted for theft of a car. So when I got to court, I thought, well, I've explained where I've told them where the car is. They might let me out. So as I got to court, my name was, on that occasion, what did they say my name was then? Forshaw.
Forshaw, yeah.
And he went, Mr. Forshaw. And I went, all right. I thought, fucking is right. That's, you know what I mean? The names.
Yeah.
They went, is it Mr. Parr? Or is it Mr. Peters? Or is it Mr. this? And then they finally come out with my real name. I thought, shit. So we got my man's in custody over Christmas again. I seem to like spending Christmas in Germany. The man's in custody over Christmas. Got to court and had to go to Hanover, all the way to Hanover. So I stayed in 7 prisons. They went from prison to prison, took about 3 months, and ended up in Hanover. Got to court. They gave me 6 months, but they'd found the car as well, so they gave me 6 months, whatever the charge was. But I'd done the time, so they let me out. What was the question?
When it all turns out.
Oh right, yeah. So fucking hell. So so I got out. Our kid sent me some money across. I didn't have a pot to piss in. Our kid sent me some money, and I was travelling on a false passport, and so I had to go to the embassy or the consulate in Hamburg and try and get a new passport, but just give me this piece of paper with my name on and all that, and check me out. It took ages to check that I was out who I was, and it just said in big black letters on it, previously travelled in a false passport. So I got on the boat at Hamburg, and as I say, as I explained I've explained before, I'd been on drugs for 8 years, and I'd been in prison for 6 months. So, but it was like I'd never really had a proper night out as a normal person for like 8 years. You know what I mean? So get on this boat in Hamburg, which takes 24 hours to Harwich or Folkestone, and it was a fucking disco boat. It was brilliant, but I didn't have pots of piss in. So I've sat down, I've gone and got some food out of the restaurant one way or the other, and then these 2 Mancs come up to me and he says, "Are you a Scouser?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you've been working here?" I said, "Well, to tell you the truth, I've been in jail." He went, "What?" He said, "Do you want a pint?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "You have a spliff?" I went, "Yeah, come on." They threw this weed. So they bought me ale all night, bought me something to eat all the way home at this fucking disco. He said, "We'll give you a lift to Knutsford. We'll drop you at Knutsford, and then as I got off the boat with me little piece of paper with all saying previous travels, I give it to the immigration. These two special branches standing behind. This is 95 now. This is about March, April 95. They give it to this special branch. Special branch went in the back and they come back out and he said, we've got some good news and we've got some bad news. And I said, what's the good news? They said, you're getting a lift to Liverpool. I said, okay. I said, what's the bad news? They said, we're taking you. You're under arrest. I had more charges in this country. So come back to Liverpool, got me managed in custody in Walton, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I think I'd been released too early from Germany, drug-wise. I'm talking about relating to getting off drugs, and so got another 6 months, and I think that saved me. So what in the summer,
kept you off drugs for a bit longer.
Yeah, give me longer. I reckon I would have hit the ground running and back into it. Back then in March 95. So I got out in the summer, walked out of Preston Jail in the summer of 1995, and all he owned was the clothes I stood in. And I was determined not to go back to that life, which I succeeded. I mean, it's do you know what? I haven't even talked about my addiction publicly until this week. It's a quarter of a century this year.
I was thinking, what is amazing, mate, to hear the stories you've been through, the addictions that it's 20, nearly 25 years.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, I've got about 400 quid's worth of your clothes in my wardrobe, you know, you gotta go to the match to see everyone wearing your top, you know, we go for a pint, and you just think, the man I see now, I wouldn't even imagine that story that you've told me.
I wouldn't know him. But getting back to that, all the lads were, not just at Liverpool, Everton, all over the country, all wearing our gear. And someone said, what was the question? They said to me, I bet you'd never dreamt that this would come true. And I said, I couldn't even dream. I wouldn't even dream it, you know what I mean? That everyone, you know, when I used to go to the game as a kid, and you watch it, as we talked about an hour ago, watching what everyone's wearing. Now they're all wearing, you know, my gear. And
yeah, it must be such a good feeling when you see someone.
I never failed to get a buzz out of it. Never.
Yeah.
You share them sometimes. Anyone who's not, Transalpino is all over social media. I loved one the other day. There was a kid in the Bahamas or Barbados or something, and he had a pair of your shorts on, reading my book. I think I sent it to you, and it was like,
how mad's
just
that?
Yeah, a couple of scallywags from Liverpool. No, I wish it was fucking me. No, it wasn't me. And it was just some lad, some obviously Scouser. I don't know whether he was a Scouser actually, but anyway, he's reading my book on a sun lounger in Barbados with the Transalpino shorts on, and I was like, it made me so proud being mates with you and the book and everything. I was like, wow, that's.
I was in Perth, Australia last year, and I had a Transalpino t-shirt, and I'm sitting on the beach in Perth with my missus and my grandson, and there was Scousers there in Cockneys. There was about 30 of them. They were having a big like barbecue and all that, and one of them must have said, Transalpino t-shirt over there. So I'm just saying, so I'm listening to them, they're all talking, so they're talking about Transalpino, and they're saying, and he does this and he does that, so they're talking about me.
That's crazy.
So I said to me, bed, they're talking about me there, you know. She went, what do you mean? I said, look, and one lad saying, yeah, he goes here, he goes there, he gets this, he gets that. And I thought, fucking hell, I said that. But I didn't say nothing to them. But like, it was strange, it was surreal.
That's cool,
that people were talking about me. So then, 4 months later or something, I'm in the shop, and these two Scousers come in, buying about 5 t-shirts, and one of the fellas said to me, I seen one of your t-shirts on the beach in Australia. I said, whereabouts? He said, Perth. I said, that was fucking me. He went, no. I said, it was. I said, you're all talking about me.
Right.
What about your, like, does it, because obviously they recognise the brand, but do they recognise you?
Oh, don't even ask. Yeah.
Would they though? Because I don't know whether...
People, I'm always sticking myself on, Andy. I was out Saturday night and people come up and go, and they call me Transalpino.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And this is cringeworthy. Well, no, anyway.
Well,
one or two have asked for pictures.
Oh, yeah. Like, with the book, it's weird. Like, people have asked... I mean, it's really nice. People ask for a selfie, but
it's nice.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
One thing I do want to...
But you know you're doing something right, don't you?
Yeah.
One thing, mate, on Transalpino is a big thing which we've not even really touched on. What are we like for time?
No, I'm just looking at my notes.
1 hour, 1 hour 20. What time?
Okay,
No, just looking at my notes, not the time.
Because one thing I think what adds to the mystique, well, just for me anyway, this whole Transalpino thing is, and I'm not just saying this because you're my mate and you're a guest on this, but it genuinely is a good clubber. Like, I really, really like it, and that's not me just saying that. But what I think adds to the brand and to you, which I'm not as much into, but I think there's clearly a lot of people are, is the trainers and the extent you go to get these trainers, because you're you're massively into you.
Yeah, I must say before we move on, I must say all about the brand. It's not just me. It's even though I owned it for many years, and I'm mainly on the footwear side. Jay Montessori used to be with 80s Casuals, and then he come over and become partners with me on the clothes, and he's brought a lot. He's Italian.
Is he the good looking lad? He's just the coach now.
He's Italian. He when it comes to clothes, he's like a bird, and he's passionate about it. And without him, it probably wouldn't be where the clothing side. So even though he puts input to the footwear, he puts a lot of input into the footwear, and I put a lot of input into the clothes. It's we cross over, but yeah, it's a
clearly
good
a good team mix again.
But where was you going then? So
well, yeah, no, clearly it is a good team, and I would suggest everyone go and look into. But again, I focus more on that, and I bought a few pairs of trainers, but it's not the Adidas kind of that you're into, and you just tell one, I think, well, me as well, because I don't know all about it. One, where it came from. Two, how did you find out that there's this desire out there for people who want these Adidas trainers? And three, how you get them, how you sell them, how it works. Because for me, once I knew what you'd done with these trainers, I was thinking, fuck me, I didn't even know anyone cared as much to go and do all this. And clearly there is a demand.
You had the I used to do a lot of importing from China, and
this is Tom. You used to need a conversation after this.
I used to import from China. I've been to China about 40 times. So we used to import, but the thing was that you put your money in 9 months in advance, then the gear would arrive, then you'd all sail it, and then the cycle would start again. You never really had any money till Christmas week, and then January it was gone again.
It's a big cash flow issue, isn't it?
That's if you hadn't made a bad decision. Yeah, cash flow. So that's if you hadn't made a bad decision where it didn't sell or you got bumped. So I had to get out of that, and I was at a loss what to do. And I'd previously owned Transalpino, and I thought, but it's only been new gear, and so I started making these. Bought this machine. He started making these old-fashioned Adidas signs, and I was surprised at how well it went and how much people still into it. So I done Laces Out. I still had some gear in the loft from Laces Out from the previous from when the shop was open. So I went to Laces Out, and I was astounded how much people were into it. So I started buying bits of second hand. So the opportunity to open the shop on bolts, the space come available. So we only got it on a 4-week lease. I bought a big load of second-hand shoes, done them up. Social media had changed in that time, put a load of stuff on social media, and then opened up. I thought, I'm going to fucking make a show of myself here. No one's going to be interested. And as it turns out for work, well, for my first day, the shop opened, and there was a queue down the street.
Really?
And that was it then.
Is this just Adidas trainers, is it, or any trainers? Or?
Adidas. So then it went from there. I'm as surprised as you that there was a market for the vintage, but there wasn't. So then, as I say, I travel a lot. I lose money going here, there, making contacts. I've got contacts in Argentina, the States, Asia, and at the moment I've hit gold in Asia, where I'm getting stuff now. I sell stuff now to lads, and after I've sold it to them, some of them say to me, "You do know that's the only pair in the world, or there's only another one known pair in the world, and Noel Gallagher's got that or something." So I've got this fella. I mean, do you know what? Before we come here,
how does that happen? Sorry to interrupt. How does that happen? There's only one pair in the world. Do Adidas just make one?
No, Adidas in 1972 might have made 100 pairs, but
just over time,
with the gone. I mean,
now,
that pair of trainees what you're wearing now, there might only be.
Yeah.
Back then.
That was me being stupid. That I'm thinking, why is it? But obviously, over time,
back then, trainers were made for training. So a special club might have only ordered like 100 pairs for their club, or and over time they've disappeared for one reason or the other. And then I've discovered this gold mine of Adidas, where, I mean, I sold a pair of Capri to one of the main collectors in this country. he's got like 2,000 pieces, hasn't got this pair of Capri. So I went away, went on my travels to an undisclosed location, and
Not shoplifting.
so no, I'm fucking everything's above board now. So I've got this pair of Capri and sold them to him. He said, Jockey said, you don't see them anywhere. You know what I mean? So I've been away last week, so I phoned him up, messaged him. I said, you never guess what I've just come across on the very next trip. He said, what? I said, another pair of Capri. He went, fucking hell. I've come up with this pair of PX78. There's only one or two other known that's on this recent trip. But yeah, so as I say, it hasn't just fell on my lap. There's been a lot of hard work. I mean, I used to go all over the States with the SL Loop. I don't know, with the new gear. I used to be travel. There was a shoe called the SL Loop, and it didn't sell in the States, but it fucking flew out in Liverpool. I went all over the States buying it. Yeah,
I got both pair from your shop with the orange sole.
Yeah, them, yeah. And I went all over the States buying them. Miami, San Francisco, Chicago. I was in Chicago. Do you know I was reading up on Al Capone? You know the Valentine's Day Massacre and all that. And it turns out this place in Chicago was the same place where I went to. So I was in Chicago looking for SL Loop. So what you'd do is you'd find a shop, say it's called City Sports, for instance, and they're a chain. So if you've gone into City Sports in the city centre and they've got like SL Loops, like you get 20 pairs off them, what you'd obviously do then, you're going, well, I'll go to the next branch. So I'll go to the next City Sports, put in the sat-nav, put in the City Sports, go down, get another 5 pairs, and that's what you do, you know what I mean? So not really looking where you're going. So anyway, put the next one in. It was like fucking, London Road, for example, or let's call it Detroit Road, Detroit Avenue. So Detroit Avenue City Sports. So we go in there, and as I've come round the corner onto Detroit Avenue, there's like eight.
It's like the Mecca or something.
Eight trainer shops, sneaker shops they're called, because if I go in and ask for trainers over there, they'd just think I'm fucking mad, so I used to have to go and ask for sneakers. So I've thought, wow, so this City Sports bet, then there's like all these other ones. So I'm in this hire car, but this is the west side of Chicago, right? So I'm not thinking, I'm just looking at shops. So as I've jumped out the car, the owners are all sitting there. It's a black area. All the owners are all sitting outside smoking weed and all that. I've gone, oh fucking hell, this is a bit edgy. So then, as I've gone in the shop, they're all looking. So I'm a grey-haired white fella in his 50s. I noticed that there isn't even a white face in the area. The cars going past haven't got white faces. The coppers going in past in the car are black, and I thought, fucking hell, I'm starting attracting attention. I've got quite a few quid on me and a money belt inside my shorts, and I ended up doing there was all gangs on the corner selling DVDs, all arguing with each other, and there was 7 shops. I think I'd done 3. I didn't buy nothing. I just went in and had a look. Done 3. It was that moody that I jumped in the car, and people started like taking notes of me and done one. I went away and fucking googled where it was, and it was like fucking. It's like 31 murders a month or something in that area. It's the west side of Chicago, where Al Capone was actually at his empire.
Well, I was in
Cicero, it's called.
I was in Rome last summer, and we were sitting there, and we got chatting to this American couple, and I think there'd just been a couple of shootings in London at the time. It made the news or something. And we spoke to this American couple, and they were like, hey man, there's nothing. And it's something like one weekend in Chicago, there was like 76 people killed in a shooting.
It's fucking mad, isn't it?
So over there, especially in Chicago.
Crazy, yeah.
They can never believe how the police don't have guns or anything. I remember talking to tourists, American tourists, and they can't believe that the police rock up, without...
With a baton.
Yeah.
And that was the problem. That was the problem with that graft, is the best sneaker, the best trainer stores are in the ghettos. So it was. I mean, I've been to LA, San Francisco, Miami. Miami was always a good one, but they're always in moody areas.
And then, sorry, mate. And then you just take them back in your suitcase, or would you?
No, I'd ship them both. I'd do both.
Yeah.
As it got bigger and bigger,
rather than go to shops though like that, do you not find, if you're like the Jockey of Chicago, surely there's got to be, is there not people out there, not in the main shops, who are doing this stuff with the trainers?
Yeah, I got one. I found a fella in Miami, And then so he was emptying all everywhere. He was obviously had connections all over the States, and we emptied of America of SL Loop. And can't get them now.
And what do you do as a collector, someone who's passionate about them,
I'm not
but
a
also
collector. I'm a dealer.
So there you go then. So
people hate me. There's people out there who hate me for making a profit on Adidas trainers. How ridiculous is that?
Why? Because
it's not the cure for cancer. It's a luxurious item what you wear on your feet, and there's people who absolutely hate me because I make money on Adidas trainers.
What's the thinking behind that though?
Fucking around the twist, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know. It's so precious. I mean, a lot of them. I've got kids. There's kids who, it's like kids. Oh, you know, lads in the 20s to 30s saying, this is our thing. You're ruining it. Our thing. I mean, where was they when we were fucking sleeping on railway floors in Europe in the 80s, going over and bringing that stuff back, and they say, I'm ruining their thing.
Not only that though, they're not going to fucking China and fucking getting it, are they?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do they want you to do? Sell it for 40 quid or something?
I'm not going to China. I'm going somewhere else, but it's not China. Exactly. Yeah. We're ruining their thing, their culture.
If you're finding something and there's only a couple of them in the world, I'd be fucking selling them for fucking as much as I could.
Yeah,
if I walk into McDonald's where they're working, are they going to give me that burger at cost price or anything? If they're an electrician, they're going to come around my house and do it for nothing. You know what I mean?
You know what? Similar kind of thing, a little bit off subject, but similar. And you're pisses me off. And it's the same. You're not you're a dealer of trainers, so it's a business for you. The amount of people who ask me to come and do a talk for them, right? And don't get me wrong, if it's local and charity, I'll speak all day for people. Some guy, right? And if he listens to this, and hopefully he feels embarrassed by it. He messaged me, right? Hi Andy, just seeing the fantastic work you do with your motivational talks, and I see you go into schools. I'm wondering, our year 10s are coming up for their GCSEs at the moment. It'd be great if you can come and do a talk. Our school's in Bradford, and the school would really love it. I said, of course, you gotta go into schools all the time. Here's what I can provide, here's what I talk about, and here's my rate. This is my job, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy comes back with, oh sorry, I thought it'd be for free. As other speakers we've got in, do it for free.
Yeah.
So I emailed him back and said, okay, so you want me to take a whole day off, basically, drive to Bradford, putting petrol out of my own money, to come and speak to all your kids for an hour for nothing, drive all the way back to Bradford, just because it's for shits and giggles, because I fucking want to go and inspire the kids of Bradford. Yeah. And this fella could not understand that it's a fee, it's a job.
Or they might say, it's good exposure for you, but then you say, well, my rent is 700 exposures.
Yeah. Well, as you see me on social media when I'm travelling and I post up all this gear and wherever I am in a jungle in Asia or something, and I post that.
Is that where the trainers are?
Yeah, I've been into a jungle in Asia and
reminds me of Denzel Washington going into he's in go. Where does Denzel Washington go to? Vietnam. And he goes to see like this fella in the middle of a jungle and buys all the heroin from him, and they only let him in. That just reminds me of Jockey just walking into some jungle somewhere and come back.
It is. It's a 6 hour taxi drive from the nearest airport. This place. Anyway, that's irrelevant.
Mate, I need just on that. If you ever need like a bagman with your, I'd love
Alan
to come on one of these.
That'd be nice as well. Yeah. So then I'll post pictures up, won't I, of all this gear I found, and then give it an hour or so, my inbox will start from, all right, mate, I've seen all them pictures of all them dead rare Adidas. Where is it, mate? I'd like to get myself some old school Adidas. Where is it? You know what I mean? Some people are crazy. I've had other people saying, all right, mate, can you tell me where? I fancy opening a shop just like yours. Can you tell me where you get all your stuff? Once or twice I've replied back and said, do you want me online banking details and my password as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've sometimes bit a couple of times, and again, I feel like I'm on a rant now because I know how much it can piss you off. A woman messaged me once for Merseyside Police. She messaged me asking me to come and do a talk, and I said, yeah, I've done a lot of work with Cheshire Fire Brigade. I'll do the same rate for you as I did for Cheshire Fire Brigade.
Yeah.
Give her me rate. And she went, oh, that's not a bad hourly rate, is it? I wish I could charge that. And I saw a message back, went, well, if you've been blown up in Afghanistan, had you like amputated, recovered from all what you've done this, done that, then maybe, charge what you think you're worth.
Yeah,
this is what I'm worth. I feel I'm worth anyway.
100%.
Fucking people are fucking...
Do you get many people like that?
No, I've had it twice and it's literally quite recently, yeah.
Some people think the world owes them a living.
Yeah, it's disrespectful or it's fucking stupid. It's one of the two.
Price is the price.
Yeah.
If you don't like it.
But that's interesting because I didn't know... Well, you've answered it for me, but I didn't know whether sometimes you'd get a pair of Adidas and think, I don't want to sell these, I quite like them. I'd want to collect them myself. No,
I'm not a collector. The day I start doing that, then
you go bankrupt.
I wouldn't sell anything, was I?
It's amazing again, I keep on, not that it's a plug for you, but just as a mate, and it is some amazing club that you're doing, and the trainers as well. You do look at them and you're thinking, fucking hell, like it is mega impressive, mate, what you've done with it.
Thanks.
Maybe sort out some merch for the Leg It podcast.
Yeah.
Some branding.
I enjoy listening to the podcast. Even the couple between yourselves last week, you were discussing social media and however you can get and all that, and you said you had to come away from it for a couple of weeks and all that. Social media to me is absolutely, it's the lifeline of the business, really. You know, obviously I've got to do stuff, but that's what I try and do interesting stuff and put on social media. Listen, some people might listen to this tonight and think he's a fucking knobhead, this, that and the other, or I don't give a fuck, really. I'm not really bothered what people think about me, because I've been in a situation where I've been a smackhead, the lowest of the low in some people's eyes, so they can't think that, I have actually been someone who's been unsavoury, and nowadays I don't think I'm an unsavoury character at all.
Well, mate, I can vouch for you, mate. I think you're a top fella. I think fucking what you do is very impressive. I think you got...
Am I getting paid? Are you getting paid? What's your daily rate for saying this?
No, you know what I took from this podcast? If I see you in Munich next week, I'm not standing behind you in passport control.
Do you have your own? What about your own personal social media stuff? You don't do any. It's just all Transalpino.
Do you know what? If I didn't have this business, it quite possibly wouldn't have an Instagram account, or I'd maybe be on Twitter, or I was on Facebook anyway. But no, I wouldn't be. You wouldn't see me do. I wouldn't have like 35. I wouldn't be trying to get followers on Instagram.
No, I was having
I've got a personal Instagram account with 200 people on it, who are 200 people who have met, who I personally know. You know what I mean? I'm not friends with anyone who I've never met.
Mm. But to have that, look, I'm just looking now, 8,825 posts. Like that. Is that
Instagram? Is it?
Yeah, that takes dedication.
What followers is he on?
33.1.
I lost 500 last night. You see, 500 followers disappeared for some reason. I don't know.
Instagram had a call, didn't they?
Did they have
fake accounts?
Fake accounts, or accounts what are no longer active.
Well, you've still got how many now? That's impressive. That
and like that, mate. 8,825 posts. That's like dedicated.
I've got. On Twitter, I've got 14,000. I've done 14,000 tweets on Twitter. I don't know. I get up in the morning. It's my job. It's part of my job. You can go onto Instagram and you can on my account. You can go in and see how many minutes you've spent each day.
What is it
on Instagram?
Do you know?
Mine averages are about 1 hour 12 minutes on Instagram. I don't know whether that's. But that's just on Instagram. So if I'm doing 112 on Instagram, I also do Twitter and Facebook. It's what I've got to do.
Yeah, well, it's the business it do.
And do you know what? Someone commented on Facebook the other night when I said I was going to see Alan McGee. Someone commented on Facebook, on me Transalpino Facebook, not on my own. So I'm going down to London, being summoned to see Alan McGee. And he commented, why don't you climb out of your fucking ass? Why don't you climb back out your own ass or something? And I thought, and do you know what? No, the lad who done it, I know him. The lad who done it, funnily enough, his brother's a boxer, and funnily enough, I'd tweeted information out for his brother to get tickets to me 35,000 followers. I'd tweeted information only an hour earlier, so I just replied back to him and said, I replied back something like, it's funny that whose ass was I climbing out of when I was promoting your brother's fight?
Some people can just get so blinkered and get whether it's jealous.
The point is, I it's not about me. I'm running a business. The Casuals documentary, which everyone loves, was made at about 2012, I'd closed the shop in 2010, and Peter Newton got in touch with me and said, "Do you want to go on this casuals documentary? You know, it's about trainees and all that." And I said, "No." He said, "Why?" I said, "Well, I'm not promoting nothing, so it's."
What's the documentary?
It's about casuals. It's about similar to what we're talking about tonight, how it all started and all that. Watch it, it's good.
All right.
Peter Newton's on it, Wade Smith's on it.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really good.
Yeah, and so it's not about me. It's about I'm promoting a business.
Yeah, the social media, it's like we spoke last time. It can be so, but for people like within similar markets, in the sense that you've got to put your work out there, you're always going to get fucking idiots like that.
Yeah,
you know.
And do you know what? I make a mistake now and again.
I've seen you had a few arguments on Twitter. You're quite funny on Twitter.
Yeah, but do you know what? The other week, that Millwall thing, Everton and Millwall, I got that video early on, and I put it on my Instagram. And then after about 40 seconds, I went, nah. So I looked at it, couldn't see faces and that, and I thought, nah, and I took it back down, right? But I forgot. My Instagram links to my Facebook, which I don't really go on. Like you said about your Facebook,
thing as me,
doesn't really go on it. Then I got a notification. I'm walking home, got a notification about an hour, and I look on and something. So going to my Facebook, I've got 295 comments and about fucking 15,000 views of the video. It hadn't deleted it off my face. And I seen one of the comments was, "Get this down, you're going to get people nicked." Bump, straight away deleted it. So I'd made a mistake there.
Yeah.
Another one was the. No, the lads with the digger at the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
The lads with the
He got
digger.
sentenced today, you know.
Did he? Well, I got
today.
that. He lived here.
Yeah, he lives in Netherlands, I think it is.
That one, I got that 3 hours before I started seeing on Instagram, and I was on Twitter, and I looked at it and thought, fucking hell, that's, yeah, because you get that many on these WhatsApps now, don't you? And I looked at it and went,
WhatsApp
and then 3 hours later, I tweeted it. Oh no, I was going to tweet it, and then I thought, no, you don't know who there is who's done that. It could be one of the lads.
Everyone.
And then, like, I'd have had that like 3 hours earlier. I mean, it's all about. People say, "Oh, you're doing stuff to get likes." Of course, I'm doing stuff to get likes. I've got a business to run.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry about what stuff you do? Does like a thought process come into your mind of like, right, I've got a business actually behind this. I best be careful. Like, do you ever go through that? So it's not, because sometimes you can just wallet.
It's how people twist. It's how people twist things. So another one was the groom. This Tommy Robinson. Do you remember when he got his jail, his 18 months or whatever he got, 18 weeks or something for the grooming gangs, and I didn't know the full story because I don't take much interest in Tommy Robinson, but he got nicked on like a Monday and they jailed him on a Tuesday. So I put a tweet out or somewhere to put it going, why aren't these judges a bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. Why aren't they consistent when they're dealing with these people who download porn? Because anyone who downloads porn, child porn, they're all getting like 18 months suspended sentence. No one goes to jail for that.
Really?
But, no, you look into it, they always get suspended sentence because there's that many of them. The jails will be full. But like the jailing him straight away the next day, I thought, I wish they'd be more consistent. Well, people twisted that. Next thing, I'm a Tommy fucking Robinson supporter.
Biggest fan.
You know what I mean? And the people who it was and like started like trying to tried to do an action job on me. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
And then when you argue with them, these are like wordsmiths who you can use big words. This fella from Runcorn was one of them. They use big words, but like if they talk like that in a pub, you'd think people think what a fucking knobhead coming out with language like that. But they can wipe it out on you know.
Yeah, that's what you've got to think about your business.
Yeah, mate. It one wrong turn and then that's it, isn't it? You know.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, you know, imagine all the hard graft going to wherever you're going to get these trainers. You come back on your flight, do one wrong tweet, it's taken the wrong way, and then you're thinking, it's your business.
Yeah, it's
massively affected.
Yeah, there's been a couple, but then Saturday night with Kray, that was me who videoed that was my video. So I was with Kray needs to get down the stage, so I was working with him, just like we work with him wherever he goes. He has his own people with him, so we tell security what to do, sort of thing. So I took him down to the stage. I said, you're doing a presentation on stage. So I took him down to the stage. So we're standing in Jamie's belting out.
I was in the crowd.
Was you there?
Yeah, I was there, yeah. I didn't know you. You were in the big bit, mate, you know what I mean?
So,
so
he's about an hour later, so me and Kray are just standing there in the end. I said, Kray, fucking get up there. And he went, what? I said, get up. So he jumped up. And I videoed that now. And that got 1,700 retweets, that. Went up and seen Philly. I said, look what I've just tweeted that. But I knew that was all right. I knew that was all right to retweet.
He's been a big supporter of you, hasn't he? I've seen that picture with John Barnes as well.
I work with John Barnes. Rushy. Went to the States with John Barnes last year. New York.
It must be good having Toronto. All the people. We started the podcast talking about Liverpool. Now, not only have you got your own fashion brand, but you've got Liverpool legends backing it. And
Kray has been good. What happened with Kray is, I know Kray from going the match. So we'd end up in likes of say Liverpool in Malaysia or they're in China. I've been to 37 countries with Liverpool. So say Liverpool playing in Thailand, we go the match, but that's not enough for me. We'd then bunk in VIP. So he'd bump into me all around the world in VIP. He'd go, fucking hell, you again. This is like back in the 2000s. He'd go, oh, you again then. One day we covered a couple of passes in Canada, and the passes were at the side of the. We were standing at the side of the pitch with the passes. I mean, on the pitch.
Yeah.
So as a security come up to me and went, "What are you doing standing at the side of the pitch here?" And we just looked at him, and he went, "You're supposed to be minding Liverpool's changing room." So off we went to Liverpool's changing room. Kray got subbed. Kray comes walking off the pitch. This is 2004. Kray comes off walking off the pitch. Goes, "Oh, all right, lads." He said, "Just seen your flag there. My flag was up as well." You know what I mean? I said, so, and that's how we used to get to know him. So I'd be there, and then I'd be out in town, bump into him in town and that. And just got to know him that way. And then became mates with his Al fella through the match. And years ago, about 5 years ago, his Al fella said, "We're doing a couple of shows in Dublin and Belfast. Do you fancy coming over on the Ale?" So I went, all right. So me and my mate, Franny, went over there. We're having a bevy in Dublin on the Ale, watching the show and all that. And Philly comes up to me after we both had a few bevies. He says, "Jockey," he says, "we've got a problem with Belfast tomorrow night." He said, "What's that?" He said, "The security of we've got no security for it." I said, so it was Kray, Haman and Garcia. He said, "We've got no security for it." He said, "Will you sort the security out tomorrow?" I said, "Fuck Philly." I said, "I've never been a bouncer or nothing in my life. And now you want me to keep the people from the Shankill away from the people from the Falls. Got to keep peace up there." I said, "Give me a break, Philly." He went, "Oh." So we went up and done it. We went up and done it, and I've started working with them. But another side note to that was, and if Jamie listens to this, he'll be laughing. So we get to Belfast, and we're staying in the hotel in Belfast. So that night, Kray, Haman and Garcia are on. The Killers are on. And Ant and Dech were on, all in Belfast. There wasn't a hotel room in Belfast. Go to get an hotel room. Philly says, "Jockey, there's no rooms." I said, "Fucking hell, Philly, you've got me up here and we haven't got a room." He said, "Give me half an hour." So he comes back to me half an hour. He said, "Now you got him." Kray had just stopped playing. So it's about 2014. So Philly comes back to me. He says, "You're in with our James." Little James was there as well. I said, "You're in with our James." I said, "What do you mean, James?" He went, "Our Jamie, you're in his tonight, in his room." So I went, "Oh, okay, Phil." So I went out on the Ale with Garcia and Diddy. Kray never went for the pint. He was staying with James. James was only about 11 then. So I've sneaked in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is this big, lovely hotel. And at the end of Karay's double bed, there's a couch. Like, that's why I kept on the couch. So I wake up in the morning about 7:45, go and get a shower, and I look up at the bed, and Karay's not in bed. I thought, he must have gone for the brekkie. So I'm getting a shower, get this big robe on, get out the shower. And just as I come out the shower, Kray comes in and gets back into bed. I go, "All right, yeah." He said, "What was the brekkie like?" He said, "The fucking brekkie." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I haven't been for the brekkie." I said, "Where have you been?" He said, "I've been asleep on the corridor all night." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're fucking snoring." I said, "What?" I thought he was messing. I started laughing. He said, "You think I'm fucking messing?" He said, "Look at your couch, look where your bed is." And as I looked, there was flip-flops there, there was empty Coke bottles, there was pillars. Nowhere he's been throwing them at me all night. But instead of kicking me out of his room, he'd gone and kipped in the corridor.
Fucking hell.
That's a strong. I wouldn't have fucking done that.
No.
So for you to be mates with Kray, you became a doorman. For me to be being mates with Kray, I had to get blown up.
Don't call me a doorman. Just, but I'd say, yeah, it's just following Liverpool everywhere, I just become a familiar face, really. You know what I mean?
That's another cool story to add to it.
Mate, thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah,
It's been mega, mate. I could
It's
literally...
like therapy.
You have to. A lot of people say that. Do you have to dart now? Yeah, it's 10 past 5.
I've got to be in town for 5:30, but
Yeah,
the traffic
fair.
won't be that way. Will
Yeah,
it?
Any last things you wanna touch on? Any of you, Tom, or you, Jockey?
No, mate. Thanks for opening my eyes into how to shoplift. Joking.
Getting back to Tommy Robinson, yeah, and getting back to Tommy Robinson, then people who were saying I was a big Tommy Robinson fan, they didn't take into consideration the time when the EDL actually come to Liverpool and we were there
That was brilliant,
to send them back. Yeah. I've been there on 3 or 4 occasions. Like the first one was the white man. It was like the white man's march. It was called, and they were proper like MMA fighters. Them they weren't like the EDL with no teeth and half a brain cell between them. They were like proper like MMA. They were all dressed in black. They were quite scary, but they got sent. We met up the night before, a few of us, Liverpool, Everton, Tranmere, and decided we weren't going to let it happen in our city. You know what I mean? My fella fought the Nazis.
It was great to see, mate. I remember being on the Liverpool Echo website and just to see a load of these so-called, extremists and all that, wanting white supremacy, whatever they fucking talk shit about, and then to see, my city actually say, no, we don't like that here.
That Antifa or something, they were there as well, the lefties. I'm no big fan of they're just as extreme to the left as these people were to the right.
Yeah.
And we were just stuck in the middle, and then a firm from Granby come down, and you looked at this firm from Granby and they were all ex-toxic rioters, all my age and that, and they weren't going to take any shit either. So and that was 2 or 3 cases. That first white man march, however they were called, I think it might have been called National Action. They planned to come again, and because all the lads had heard about it, you should have seen they never actually made it to Limey. They abandoned it at Widnes or something. When you should have seen the firm that was waiting for them. It was scary, scary firm.
It's a great thing about the city though, that we're not standing for any of that shit.
When was this then?
It's been 4 occasions.
It's happened a few times.
Yeah,
People
it
tried to come
started in
and do a march.
2015. That first one wasn't. Then the EDL have been a couple of times and a couple of others. That EDL there just, and I'm not like left wing at all. I might even have now and again some thoughts of I'm not politically correct. I'm far from it, but no way can you let people import problems into our city. We've got our own problems, haven't we? Without people coming here and importing them, their prejudice views upon us.
No, it was great to see. I loved seeing. They all got locked in the baggage claim or something.
Baggage,
I remember it.
Getting bananas threw at them and that.
That was brilliant.
Mate, thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Where just in case people don't, where can people? I know we'll put the links in the description and bits and pieces.
Bold Street. We're on Bold Street. We've actually got a shop on Bold Street inside Soho's, but like anyone who wants to look us up, just Google Transalpino or put it in on any of the social media sites. It usually comes straight up.
You start 1 hour 52. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe.